The actions of the hardline military regime are the cause of increasing international concern. The regime crushes all dissent. Ethnic groups are being oppressed in the east of the country, and foreign journalists...
Some form of chemical weapon has been used in Burma by military rulers. National uprising.
Thousands took to the streets and thousands Burma. Many peaceful protesting monks have been killed, some burned alive and others drowned. Foreign journalists have been shot and killed.
Thousands of villages have been destroyed. Rape and torture are a daily occurrence. In Burma, there are more landmines than anywhere.
Young men are beaten and forced into the army, many as young as 12 years old.
Beheadings and mutilations are common.
The Karen people, comprised mostly of poor Christian farmers, have been singled out for
The
extermination.
military government wants the abundant natural resources on Karen land.
The bloody Burmese military campaign against the Karen people has been going on for almost 60 years. The longest running civil war in the world.
Today you will see it being shot at me.
You know who you are. What you're made of. War's in your blood. Don't fight it. You didn't kill for your country. You killed for yourself. Gods in Africa make that go away. When you're pushed, killing's as easy as breathing.
Their history, they come across as being patriotic. When other people talk about where they came from and who they are and what their history is, that's called patriotism. But when African Americans do it, or when black people do it, they're labeled as being militant. They're called rebels. They're called Afrocentric. So that's the big difference. Our history, for some reason, it becomes offensive to people. So we have to stop being afraid to tell what our true history is. According to Dr. Sten, the original name of Africa was Kebelon. Africa, the whole continent, was also called Ethiopia. As a matter of fact, the Atlantic Ocean was called the Ethiopian Sea. So there were several different names. Africa was really described by different tribes. It wasn't a whole monolithic society. But eventually, they named Africa after a European.
But of course, what we did in Egypt 5,000 years ago, or what we did in China 35,000 years ago, is of no benefit if we don't understand what to do today and how that would help us to survive. We discovered the clock. We did discover the wheel. We were black man has never been a caveman. We've never been in a cave. There's no history of it. We've never been in a cave. We discovered mathematics and the alphabet and writing and all of those great things that they have built a foundation on that they came and got and took back to other countries. We don't know what Africa would be like without the white influence.
There has now reached the capital of Damascus, scene of a mass anti-government demonstration, fresh bloodshed near the embattled president's compound.
And it wasn't just anywhere, but right in Damascus, and not far from Bashar al-Assad's presidential palace. Maybe it was too close for comfort, because witnesses say Syrian security forces lowered their weapons and fired live ammunition into the crowds. 2 weeks straight, Homs has been surrounded by government troops, tanks, and snipers. Homs is the stronghold of the armed Free Syrian Army, a legion of defectors. Government forces have shelled Homs from afar and strangled him. But even this dire situation could get much worse.
From an attack on Iran, saying it might set back the country's nuclear development program by just 1 or 2 years. James Clapper mirroring Defense Secretary Leon Panetta, who recently downplayed the likelihood of an Israeli airstrike.
Syria's army is swamping half a dozen towns and cities. This is Homs, bombarded with mortars for a 13th straight day.
You got these out of touch, Uncle Tom ass Negro leaders today. Get up past the coast. You can't come back home.
And the debate in Washington, D.C. is going on about, do we raise the debt ceiling again? Let me tell you what the Kane doctrine would be. We ain't raising the debt ceiling. We're going to cut the spending.
Keep
people should be advocating paychecks, not food stamps.
And talk to the children who've been Christianized. They will tell you that their ancestors covenanted with devils, and this is why black people are in the condition they are today. So turn to Christianity, and of course you turn to the oppressor's religion, and then you eat the gruel that they give you, and at the bottom it says Jesus saved you. Of course, you're conditioning that person for another 1,000 years.